Today, A is circulating that units associated with the Azov Brigade, often described as a paramilitary element within Ukraine's defense structure, have shot down and destroyed dozens of motorcycle convoys reportedly being used by Russian forces on several front lines. This information has appeared on social media accounts and several pro-Ukrainian news outlets. But the claims have not yet been independently verified by international news agencies. According to posts circulating on online platforms, the incidents occurred in recent days in an area that has witnessed fighting between Ukrainian and Russian forces. Short videos purportedly from the location show damaged motorcycles, small explosions, and the destruction of two-wheeled vehicles, as well as several audio or text snippets alleging a coordinated operation by snipers and counter-reconnaissance teams. Parties sharing the material say this tactic is intended to disable light reconnaissance units or fast patrols that use motorcycles for mobility in difficult terrain. However, the evidence shared so far has not been geo-verified, dated, or independently sourced. The Azov Brigade, also known as the Azov Battalion in its earlier stages, is a unit originally formed as a volunteer unit in 2014 and later integrated into the Ukrainian National Guard. The unit has been in the spotlight since the beginning of the conflict due to the symbolism and origins of some of its members. At the same time, many of its members have also participated in combat against pro-Russian forces. The historical and political history of Azov remains a sensitive topic and is frequently invoked in propaganda narratives on both sides of the conflict. Motorcycles are often used in tactical operations for patrols, rapid reconnaissance, personnel transport over difficult terrain, or to quickly approach targets. They are vulnerable to long-range shelling, landmines, and coordinated attacks by sniper teams or anti-vehicle units. If claims that a motorcycle convoy was hit are true, the impact could reduce the affected party's local mobility and affect their reconnaissance capacity in a specific area. There were no official statements from the Ukrainian or Russian defense ministries confirming the details of the claim. International media outlets generally wait for additional evidence, such as image verification through geolocation and timestamp analysis, or official statements from both parties before publishing it as fact. The claim that the Azov Sniper Brigade destroyed dozens of Russian motorcycle convoys has circulated on social media and some pro-Ukrainian channels, but until independently verified, the claim should be considered unproven. In conflict situations, it is crucial to distinguish between confirmed information and unverified claims. Here, Russia launched a coordinated mechanized assault from two directions toward Orikhiv in Zaporizhia Oblast, attempting to breach Ukrainian defenses. Ukrainian drone operators detected the Russian column 6 kilometers behind the front line and systematically destroyed multiple armored vehicles before they could reach defensive positions. Russia is intensifying its offensive with a series of mechanized assaults aimed at pushing north toward Orikhiv. The Russian forces attempted a new tactic to breach Ukrainian lines, but the defenders were already on high alert and prepared to respond. Russia's goals here are twofold: Firstly, they want to pin down the defenders and disrupt their attention, while another Russian group is assaulting from the east, trying to get behind the Zaporizhia defense lines towards the region of Dnipropetrovsk. Secondly, their strategic goal is to bring Zaporizhia city within tube artillery range, allowing them to disrupt Ukrainian logistics and endanger the civilian population, which will create additional problems for the Ukrainians. To open the gates towards the regional capital, Russia needs to take control of Orikhiv, marking its operational goal. There are a lot more defensive structures west and south of Orikhiv, so if the Russians capture Mala Tokmachka, this would allow them to bypass some of the defenses, as there are fewer fortifications from this direction. The Russian command has ordered a frontal attack on Mala Tokmachka recently, with elite VDV troops who were annihilated by Ukrainian drone units. After failing from this direction, the Russians decided to exploit the other routes from the southwest. This will allow them to send forces through at least two vectors, which will divide Ukrainian attention and give the Russians better chances. Extensive open fields enable attackers to maneuver off-road, but this creates other risks, as the area is heavily mined by both sides, so the Russians need to use vehicles equipped with mine plows. If we look at the topographic map, Russia's advantage in this sector is that it has control over key heights south of Mala Tokmachka. The village's lower ground location gives Russian attackers a tactical advantage by improving their field of view and fire control, providing observation points and enabling control over likely approaches. Ukrainians were on high alert after the recent attack, and reports from Ukrainian partisans working behind the front line of Russian troop redeployments in the region. Due to this, Ukrainian operators are monitoring up to 15 kilometers behind the front line with drones. This allows the defenders to detect enemy movement in time and start engaging them in the kill zone, denying them the chance to get close to the actual positions around the settlement. Geolocated footage shows how the first two Russian armored vehicles were detected near the village of Mirn, around 6 kilometers from the front line. Both hit an anti-tank mine, which immobilized them, but some Russian infantry managed to survive and take shelter in a tree line. Unfortunately for the Russians, operators of the 17th Army Corps and 118th Separate Mechanized Brigade dispatched their FPV drones and hunted down the remaining infantry and finished off the armored vehicles. One vehicle could reach Nesteryanka despite being targeted by multiple FPV drones, but was subsequently destroyed and burned down. Four Russian armored vehicles attempted to assault through the open fields near Robotyne behind a mine-plowing vehicle to avoid detonating the mines. Despite their drone protection through additional cages and an electronic warfare system disrupting the signal of Ukrainian FPV drones, they were also hit and destroyed after being immobilized. The Russian soldiers, who survived the initial engagement, dismounted but were quickly hunted down. The Ukrainians were able to eliminate the Russian vehicles before they were able to reach the positions and create a direct threat to the defenders. Compensating with drones is vital because the Ukrainian positions are understaffed as this sector was quiet, while there are several hotpoints on the front line, which forced Ukraine to prioritize them and redeploy more soldiers there. Overall, Russia adjusted its approach and assaulted simultaneously from two different directions, thinking it would be enough to overload and penetrate the well-prepared Ukrainian defenses. The Russians will continue pushing in this direction, as they see it as a chance to divert Ukrainian attention from other parts of the front line, where they are struggling.